After a brief opening day yesterday on Sunday, today, Monday, officially will mark the beginning of the MLB season for the majority of MLB teams. So with that being said, I'm going to make my 2017 MLB predictions. First off, we're going to stay with the NL. I think that the NL East, there's going to be a tough race. The Mets have great pitching, as do the Nationals. The Nationals probably have a little bit of better hitting, but it's going to be a race between those two. I think if the Mets stay healthy, they edge out Washington, and I am going to take the Mets to edge out Washington. The Mets will have 94 wins, and Washington will have 91 wins. The Mets will win the division. Washington will get the wild card. To the NL Central, I do not think it'll really be a race. I have the Chicago Cubs slowing down a little bit, but not really. 4 wins less than last year. I have them getting 99 wins, and then second in the NL Central will be the St. Louis Cardinals at 88 wins. And then in the NL West, I have a pretty tight race between the San Francisco Giants and the LA Dodgers, and that'll come down to San Francisco's better pitching staff. And they'll have 93 wins, edging out the Dodgers 91. Giants win the division, Dodgers get the wild card. And now we'll look at my playoff predictions for the NL. I think that the Dodgers edge out the Nationals in that game. Scherzer's a good pitcher, but when it comes down to it, you're going to have to go with the better pitcher there. Kershaw's good, and then they also have good hitting. Corey Seager is bound to be a very legitimate MVP candidate this year. They got Justin Turner. They've got Jock Peterson. They've really just got a great baseball team overall, and I would take them in that game. That would then make them the 4 seed. They would go head-to-head with the Cubs. I just think that the Cubs are so damn good. You got great pitching, Lester Hendricks. Then you got great hitting. Rizzo and Bryant both are probably MLB MVP candidates this year. They're just a really good team. You can't argue with it. Jorge Soler, you got Javier Baez. That team, you can't really just match up with them. So I have the Cubs beating the Dodgers in the NLDS in a 3-1 series. And then the Mets, I have beating the Giants 3-2 in the best-of-5 series, with the Mets edging them out with good pitching, though they both have good pitching. I think the Mets come up clutch. They had a weak year last year in comparison to what they wanted to do, and I think that they'll come on this year and they'll make a statement. They lost to the Giants in that wild card game last year, and I think they don't want to lose again to the Giants in the playoffs. I think they would take that game. They'll be the higher seed, so that Game 5 would be in New York. So that'd be a very good, tight series. I would take the Mets winning it, though. I think they're bound for a very good year this year. Then I have a questionable prediction for the NLCS. You have the Cubs versus the Mets. I know I just talked about home field, the Mets getting it on home field, and I know I'm contradicting myself, but I take the Mets actually in 7 games in Wrigley. Reason being, Syndergaard is just, I think he's way better than Lester. Or maybe not way better, but he's definitely better than Lester. And I think that if the Mets beat San Francisco in a Game 5, then I think they're riding some momentum. And I think that momentum can carry out, and they'll come out with a chip on their shoulder in Game 7. It'll be Chicago trying to defend their title, trying to get back. And then the Mets will have a chip on their shoulder, not as much pressure because they're underdogs. I think they might come out and win that. I mean, this is months away from now. I'm taking a guess here. But I do really like the Mets this year. I think they have a good team. Syndergaard, Harvey, Wheeler's tossing the ball good, Matz, DeGrom. And then they got good hitting. Cespedes, you got Jay Bruce, you got Darno, Duda cracking homers. Nimmo should be up this year. Cicchini should be up this year. Conforto. I just think they have a really good team. They have a very high ceiling this year. So I know it's very questionable, but I have the Mets coming out of the NL this year. To the AL, we look at the AL East. I think the Red Sox are a no-brainer best team in the AL this year. Cleveland's good, but Boston they have a great pitching staff. Price, you got Sale. They are just very good. And they got Mookie Betts, Jackie Bradley. You got Xander Bogaerts, Dustin Pedroia, the veteran, Pablo Sandoval. Just a really good team there. I have them getting 97 wins this year. They'll win the AL East pretty handily, and then they'll also have home field advantage. And behind them, by 8 games, will be the Toronto Blue Jays. And I have the Blue Jays at 89 wins, getting a wild card spot. Down to the AL Central, Cleveland, they have a really good team. They're going to be chasing the series this year. I mean, we saw what happened last year. They got there. Unfortunately, they couldn't win in the Game 7. But they do have a good team. Very good pieces, good pitching, good hitting. Pretty young team as well. I have them getting 94 wins, which they had last year. They'll win the division. And then I have the Tigers 6 games behind them at 88 wins. And I actually have the Tigers managing to get a wild card spot. I think that 5th wild card spot is going to be a tough battle, but I take Detroit getting that. Then to the AL West, I have the Texas Rangers winning that, 93 wins. They'll win pretty easily. It's going to be an interesting division to watch this year. It could be very unpredictable, but I'm taking the Rangers. You got Yu Darvish back full strength. He'll be good. I just like the Rangers. And then Houston, second, 85 wins. They unfortunately will not get a wild card spot, but I have them in second place. And so then we now look at the playoffs for the American League. Detroit versus Toronto. They'll match up in the wild card game. I have Detroit beating out Toronto. I take Verlander over Toronto. So he'll win that in the play-in. Then they'll get Boston in a series. Again, I just think Boston's really good. I think Boston wins in a Game 4. They beat Detroit. And then Cleveland faces off against the Rangers. And I think that Cleveland and Boston are just the clear-cut best teams in the AL this year. And I have them matching up in the ALCS after Cleveland wins in a Game 4. And you have Boston versus Cleveland. Again, both good teams, but I take Boston in a Game 7. Boston versus the Mets in the World Series. We get a 1986 rematch. And again, I'm hyping up on the Mets this year. I take them in a Game 7. I think Syndergaard pitching in a Game 7 is better than any Boston pitcher. So the Mets, 2017 MLB champs, will be an interesting year. We'll see. But with that being said, have a nice day, guys.